Well, welcome everybody to codezing.org. We're going to do a level 2 project today called Save Your Money. If you go to codezing.org/save, you can find the code and an example. We can navigate to codezing.org, level 2 code. Let's go down to Save Your Money. This one is interesting. It's a little bit more math than a real game, but I think it's an important lesson. It's a good life lesson. If you don't even learn any coding today, hopefully you learn to save your money. So this is enter your savings. Let's say I have $5,000 and I want to save it for 50 years until I'm ready to retire. And my interest rate is 5%, which is kind of a good long-term average. But let's say I am going to be very hopeful at getting 12% interest. Let's see how much money I'd have. So I will have $2,017,143.97 in 50 years. So if I put $5,000 in a bank account and it earned 12%, which is very high, but optimistic, you got to be optimistic, and I left it there for 50 years, I would have $2 million in my bank account. So interesting that is true, and a good lesson for saving your money. On the side I put it simple. If you have $1,000 at 5% for 20 years, you will get $2,718. So you can start saving your money. Keep it in the savings account. Don't spend it. Don't buy the newest iPhone. Keep your money in the bank, and it'll keep growing and growing, and you'll have millions of dollars hopefully. So let's look at the code that does the calculation. Just a few lines. I think this shows a little bit of some important math that can be done in Python. So open Spider IDE after you've copied the code and pasted in. If you still don't have Spider or Python, I'm surprised you made it this far, but if you still don't have it, go back to the website, follow the links to get it installed, and let's break this apart. So simple this one. So we're importing math, which is the additional math functions in the Python math library. Mostly it's just for this particular function, the E constant, which is used for compounding interest. If that doesn't make any sense to you, you can just take it as fact that this formula is correct for continuous compounding. Which just means that as you save money, it will earn interest, and then the next year you will earn interest on not only that original amount you put in, but your interest on your interest, and that's what makes the amount grow so fast. So let's say it's $1,000 for a year at 5%. At the next year you'll have $1,005. If you keep it in there for another year, you don't just get $5 again, you get the $5 plus the 5% of the $5 in interest you earned the first year. So that's compounding interest. And that's what this formula is calculating. So the next three lines are just getting from the user the information. We've done this in all of our projects, I think, so far. So it will post enter amount to the console and convert that to an integer so we can do math. For the amount of money, the term in years, meaning the length of time, and the interest rate, which will be a float and not an int. So a float is just allows for decimals, and an int does not. It's just the whole number. So we'll enter the interest rate in percent, and if I put in 5, that's actually equal to 500%, so we got to divide by 0. So to turn a whole number into a percent, divide by 100. The future value, which is the amount you will have in the future, is the amount that you entered times, the asterisk is times, as we've noted before. Let's space this out so we can see it a little better. So inside our outer brackets, we're going to have the interest rate times the term. So if you had 5% at 20 years, it's going to be the 5% times 20. And all of that is going to be in the exponent of this constant e. So we're having this math constant e, which I think we can show you what that value is, but it's like pi, if you're familiar with pi. It's a constant value, always the same. How do I do that? Let's print that out so we can figure out what E is. 20 and 5%. This is the constant E. 2.7182813828. It's the same thing as pi. It goes on forever, but that's the value that Python is going to use for E. So it's taking that and it's putting it as an exponent. 2 asterisk is exponent, like 2 squared would be 2 asterisk asterisk 2. So 2.71828 to the power of interest rate times term. We're multiplying that times the amount. So that's the formula. If it looks a little kooky, you can trust that it's right. I got it from a book, and books would never lie, especially about math formulas. So we can move on to the next line. What do we do here? Did I accidentally put in a break? Okay. So the final line is just printing out the value. And this is actually new. This is brand new. We've never seen that before. Typically, we've had you just put the brackets. So we have dot format again, like we've been using for printing things out. So it's going to put this future value into these curly braces. But this chunk of code in the middle here is actually going to do the formatting, the decimals and commas. So the dollar sign is still just text. So that's not tricky. That's outside of the brackets. But inside the brackets we have this colon, which just means include the entire value, and then this comma is separating the format type. So Python has a lot of different format types, a lot of different ways to clarify exactly how you want it to be displayed. I'll leave it to you to research that if you're really interested, or if you have a particular way you want something printed out in the future. Look up Python and the format function, and there's a big long list of all the different ways you can format stuff. But this is just saying, give me 2 decimal places as a float. So keep the variable as a float, and I want to see 2 decimal places, and insert commas. So this is like the standard format for printing a comma and decimal float number. So let's run another one. 20. Let's say I'm going to invest it for 1,000 years at 80%. That should give us a big enough number to see that print function working. Result to, whoa, that must have been a gigantic number. All right. If Python didn't want to handle it, it must have been huge. Let's see. So enter amount. Let's see, $1,000. 20 years, 5%. There we go. You can see it printed out 2 with the comma and the 0.218. So if I get rid of that little bit of info, 1,025%, it's going to print it out like that, right? So it gives you the entire decimal, which is not what we want, and no comma. So this little bit of magic puts in the commas and rounds it off to 2 decimal places. So super cool. Super cool. A couple little characters and you got a perfect format. I think that's it to show you on this one. Pretty simple, straightforward, but the bigger lesson in life, save your money. Alright, have fun.